L.A. Law. There was a Canadian version of L.A. Law.
There was?
Yeah, it was crazy because they tried to ape L.A. Law entirely, but it was the Canadian judicial system, so they had to wear those ridiculous wigs, and then they had the robes. So they're trying to like do the same plot lines as L.A. Law, and like, oh, you're sleeping with the secretary, but like he's got a parliamentary wig on, and it looks like he's about to bang a gavel and demand that the queen be brought before him. So, anyways, welcome to the stream, guys. We're just chatting about L.A. Law.
And the Canadian knockoff version.
The Canadian knockoff version, which I can't remember the name of it.
In the Canadian legal system, they actually wear wigs.
It's true. Oh, okay. So we inherited a whole bunch of stuff from the UK. And I thought this was a joke, but this is a real thing. If you go to court in Canada, when an official has to approach the judge, like they have to go past that little barricade, they have to bow to the judge before they come in. And then once they're done talking to him or her, and they leave, they have to turn around, bow again, and then leave. It's crazy, and it's hilarious, and it's like a little play. And I won't tell you why I was in court. Anyways, so this is the show where we talk about the Infinity Engine games and Neverwinter Nights. Today we've actually got a pretty cool thing to show off in Neverwinter Nights for the head start.
Well,
a few things,
first
actually.
we've got Dan was kind enough to provide his Buster Sword for our viewing pleasure. It's as heavy as it looks. And is
not very sharp, though.
It's not crazy sharp, but I think what it lacks in sharpness, it makes for in weight.
Was the Buster Sword ever really meant to be something that you slice with? I feel like it's just a sheer weight sort of.
I think it was a shield. You just turn it sideways and hide behind it.
I remember him holding it in the game, and he was always kind of like, he had to balance it in a weird way.
Well, they made one on Man-at-Arms, and it was mostly useless because it was so damned heavy, which is kind of my whole problem with it.
It's heavy, and it has terrible reach. Like, it's so short.
Yep.
So if you're ever in Soldier, ask for the katana, not the Buster Sword. What else you got?
So once upon a time, I was concerned about the elven dagger I was making, so I was worried about learning how to grind complex shapes. Mm-hmm. So I made a Kukri. So the Kukri, this one, I left it a little rough because I thought rough forging is cool. And a friend of mine told me it adds 4 testosterone points to the weapon.
It's true.
So I have a Kukri. It has a rosewood handle, which is quite cool and quite pretty. And this is like murder sharp. This is probably one of the nastiest, sharpest things I've done so far. It actually did the push test through paper. But we've since hacked a whole bunch of things with it and dulled it quite a bit, so I'll have to sharpen it again.
What else you got?
I also have an axe, which I've been working on for a while.
This is like QVC for medieval weapons.
This is a very hard, rough forged axe. This was actually a block of steel that was 1 inch by 3 inches by 4 inches, and then forged it out into the shape. And the sharp bit, you can barely see that it's forge welded in there. You can see the seam a tiny bit. Is actually a file that I had, and I dropped it. Well,
Thanks,
actually, I dropped a heavy thing on the file and broke it. So I was like, okay, file's becoming an axe blade. So this has a 1095 steel file as the sharp bit in a mild steel case. And the handle is hickory, and it has been burned.
Speaking of 1095, for only 10 payments of 1095, this axe can be yours to keep at home.
You are wrong.
All right, is it more? Is it like 199? I don't know.
I'm not going to sell anything that could be used to murder other people.
All right, we're going to get into actual game stuff here in a second, but we have one question from the audience that's unrelated to games. Did you guys watch the Falcon Heavy launch?
Dude, we were cheering.
It was so cool.
The 2 boosters landing at the same time,
that was
we
dope.
were losing our mind. That was awesome.
There was screaming coming from Trent's office, and I opened the door, and everyone's crowded around the laptop like it's the moon landing.
Cam giggled like a giddy little schoolgirl. It was hilarious.
It was cool. It was, and I think the enthusiasm from the SpaceX control center is just so infectious.
It was infectious. I mean, that's what space should be. Space should be awesome, and people going, "Oh, it worked! This is awesome!" And it's. I mean, I'm kind of sad that the center stage kind of splashed, but
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3
that's
ain't
pretty
bad,
good for considering what's this like the 12th, 15th time that they've managed to land rockets.
Yeah.
The first time ever in tandem.
Yeah, the tandem was awesome. The exact same time they sat down, you're like, that is showmanship. Pow!
That was pretty crazy. And it's like, you know that they didn't have to do it like that, but it was worthwhile.
That was awesome. Another question. Can we make a really special edition of Neverwinter Nights with one of Trent's weapons?
A single copy? Yes, of course.
That is possible.
It would just be a wooden crate full of bladed weapons and a CD somewhere in the bottom.
I think it would be the opposite. I think it would be one weapon with a USB key with the game on it, and it would be stuck in there.
Whoever can draw the sword from the box shall become the DM.
Yeah, to get in the same room as the box is 10 grand, though.
So before we get into the game stuff, we'll do one giveaway. How about a T-shirt?
We can do that.
We can do a T-shirt. We're running out still because you people keep demanding T-shirts of us.
Yep.
But the first person today to get a T-shirt is Bjorton.
BIORR_TONNE. And we appreciate the British spelling.
Bio Railroad Ton. That's what it meant.
Yeah. So on Shattered Steel, I actually put British spelling in everywhere, and Interplay QA kept giving me errors on it, and I told them that I sent them a message back, as God intended.
As God and the Queen intended. Yeah. Labor is spelled with an OU.
Exactly.
You Americans.
Never fail to put the OU in there, because it can add wonderful things.
All
right.
Back
to
actual stuff we're supposed to be talking about. So Infinity Engine. So as you may be aware, Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale are currently in the 2.5 patch beta.
Planescape?
No, Planescape's actually in a different patch cadence.
Right.
Right,
because it is a cousin and not a sister.
It is a cousin, not a sister. So what we're going to be doing in the very, very near future is a language/localization update to the beta. So we're going to be continuing the beta for a little bit longer, but as we continue it, you're going to see some languages roll out. So I've been looking into the localization issues right now, and we have a tentative list of languages. I'll go over some of them. This is subject to change, and we're still reaching out to all of the translation teams to verify that things are ready to go. But for Baldur's Gate in 2.5, Hungarian is currently only available in Siege of Dragonspear, and we're going to be making that available in the base version of Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. Baldur's Gate 2, Polish with VO is coming.
Sweet.
Russian text is coming. New VO for the Italian language. I believe there's going to be new VO for German. We have 4 potential languages that are going out for BG2, but I haven't confirmed that they're ready to go. We're still doing some tests. Potentially, we've got Korean, Ukrainian, Czech, and Chinese. But again, we need to verify these. This is just what we're planning. If they don't turn out great in the beta, we might hold them back a little bit longer. For BG SOD, we might have Brazilian Portuguese ready to go for a translation for that. That'd be the first localized version of it.
Yep, it's close.
It's close, and so we have some other stuff coming. PST eventually will get Czech available on other platforms than Steam. Some of you are aware that it's Czech is available, but it's not on Beamdog and it's not on a few other platforms, so we're going to push that out soon as well. So that's what's going on with VO. There's more than that, but you're going to see more news on that in the near future. Look for that 2.5 beta update, and then after that update, we'll run the beta for a bit longer, get any remaining feedback and fixes in, and then we're off to the races with 2.5.
Cool beans.
So that's what's going on with the Infinity Engine. Neverwinter Nights. What's up
with Neverwinter Nights? Well, I think one of the biggest things is the Head Start program is firing on numerous cylinders, which is pretty cool. We dumped the normal map and specular map support into the game. We didn't really comment much on it because it was kind of a let's figure out how this works internally before we roll it out too hard. But the community's already kind of dug into it.
Yep.
One of the big things we can look at the Trello right now and kind of hit that first.
So features in the patch that's rolling out today, which is 8158. 8157 came out earlier this week, and it addressed some of those regressions we talked about last week.
Yes.
But 8158 has... I'll let you go through it.
Some fun stuff. So Steam support for the friends list through Steam. Some support for Steam Workshop, so being able to move files around without the pain that's normally associated. We've done the normal map and the spec map stuff in the MDL files, so they're actually generating tangent space bias data, and thus better supporting normal maps and spec maps. And even animeshes can do normal and spec maps. And you can also append the skin meshes into the character hierarchy now. So you can do some pretty crazy stuff. And I had a question from somebody saying, what was the bone limit? Can you only use 16 bones or 17 bones? It's actually 128 bones. And if you need more than 128 bones to skin a mesh, you need to think about efficiency, my friend. Efficiency. So that's actually awesome. The spec map, normal map stuff, you don't think it will add that much. It's like, oh, we added some maps. That sounds pretty trivial, but the difference it makes is pretty awesome.
Yeah, so we're going to show you some of this stuff in action a little bit. In fact, the community, ever since we pushed out these features, has been extremely busy and
it's
very
like,
productive.
we heard you guys did normal map and spec map. How do you use it? Because you bastards didn't document it very well. And we're like, yes, we did not document it very well because we're totally not sure how we're going to do it yet. But now we've figured that out. And beyond figuring it out, we've actually been working with a couple people on it.
Who are some of these people, Trent?
So one of the cool things, we've been working with Neverblender and Symmetric, who is I think he's one of the head people working on the Neverblender project. We basically got it up and running through Neverblender to do normal maps, spec maps. So rather than having to go and drop X number of grand to buy a copy of 3D Studio Max, you can grab Neverblender for free, and you can get normal map content into the game and looking spiffy.
Mm-hmm. And Blender's pretty good these days. It's come a long way. If perhaps you looked at it half a decade ago, like I did, it's a lot better than it used to be.
So one of the things, I'm used to working in Max, so the Blender interface just seems it's very odd to me, but that's because I've been programmed by the man to know how things should be.
In terms of features, it's pretty extensive these days.
Yeah. On our front, on the MDL updater, we're just still kind of sorting out the pipeline. One of the problems is Max does not do a good job of calculating the TSB data, so we're actually kind of filtering it through Unity right now to use that. So we'll be building a new kind of workflow for that we release on the Max side. But first we've got to get it working solid, whereas the Neverblender guy has literally jumped ahead of us on that side.
Additionally, we have some stuff to show off in terms of normals and spec provided by a community member known as Symphony, who has been extremely kind to us and has been forging ahead in terms of what you can do with the graphics in this game, and we're very, very excited by what they've accomplished. So thank you very much for providing us with these awesome materials that we're going to show.
And another thing that's coming in the new patch, there's some new server options. So you can set the attack bonus limit, the damage bonus limit, the saving throw bonus limit, the ability bonus limit, ability penalty limit, and the skill bonus limits. Previously, these were all in NWNX. Lady Aribeth looked at that and she's like, this would be a pain for me to do in Neverwinter X. Can we just move that into game code? We're like, yeah, why don't we do that? We should totally do that.
There's a hidden server option for players named after me to mess with their ability saving throws, I should say. Please stop messing with me. I'm so tired of being bullied on Neverwinter Night servers. It's really starting to impact my self-esteem.
Phil.
Anyways,
you have a self-esteem of a mountain. Can we explain how to get your ideas on Trello? So Trello comes out of the forums. So when discussion happens in the forums and a topic gets popped up enough, it gets a ticket created by our moderators and put into the Trello input side, which people can then go and vote on. So that really allows people to go in and kind of have their feedback.
Actually, if we take a look at it, you can see most wished for, and it's broken down into different categories. So eventually, once your idea is on here, it gets sorted.
Yep. And every time we do a triage meeting, which is usually on a weekly basis, we'll go through the input board, and we might select a couple things that get moved over to the in-progress board.
Hey, collector's edition of Neverwinter. I want a collector's edition of Neverwinter Nights. I'm going to wish for this.
Sure, I will sell you a collector's edition, but it will cost you $100,000.
What else do I want? Oh, this is like a shopping list of all the things that I want. All right, director's cut version of the original campaign. Yeah, I feel like making you do that. Restore content that was dummied out. Yeah, I feel like making you do that. Make the UI fully scalable at any resolution. I want that. Yeah, I want all these things.
Phil, you can't have everything.
I guess
what I
I'm
actually
not allowed
wanted,
to
I
vote.
wanted to take the Trello board and make it so you got one vote. You got one vote, and you're like, what is the one thing that I want? And it was totally that. Got a question. What was the hardest thing we were working on now? Right up until this point, it was tangent space bias data. It was like, how do you generate that data? So what happens right now is that JSON actually can generate it in code on import from an existing MDL, or we can pre-generate it in the art tools. And it was actually being able to pre-gen it in the art tools was a huge kind of step in the right direction, because it's a little expensive.
Somebody asked in the chat, what do those colored bars mean on the Trello? So I opened up a thing here. You can see that they're labels. So yellow is game mechanics, red is structures and formats, pink is UI refactor. If you dig into these, everything should be broken down and explained in a pretty straightforward way. But I have a question for Trent. Trent, if Neverwinter Nights Head Start is only available on Beamdog, how are we going to test out these amazing Steam features like friends lists and workshop support?
We have a plan.
We have a plan?
We have a plan which we'll discuss later.
All right.
Not now, my young friend. Not now.
But for now, what if we showed people that Neverwinter Nights is running in Steam?
We could do that.
We could do that.
So here is Phil playing with his gorgeous background, playing Neverwinter Nights through Steam.
Ta-da!
He can pop up an overlay, as most humans pronounce it.
What should we show these guys?
Cool angle. Yeah, we should totally show off the normal map stuff.
All right.
So this is the one that's Symphony built. This is some of the stuff he's been playing with, which is awesome.
So one of the things about spec and normal is there are things that you can see in motion quite easily, but in a static shot, it's kind of hard to see how it works. So pay very close attention and make sure your brightness is turned up because it's pretty dark.
Right now you are looking at blackness, and that's okay.
So there's, I'm in front of a door. There's nothing going on. Let's throw on some rings. Let's see. Lesser ring of crimson? Let's see.
Nah, you got to show on the greater ring of crimson.
Let's put on the greater ring. Lesser ring of the moon, ring of crimson. There we go.
There we go.
Ooh. Now, it's kind of hard to see on the stream, but if you look real close at like the bricks, you can kind of see the normals in action here. The lighting really, really helps. The lighting's a lot better than what you could do in the past because it picks up these highlights a lot more because of the normal and spec.
The dynamic lighting really shows, and it looks a lot better.
Let's go upstairs.
You do that.
Or let's change some rings. What do we got? Ring of the moon.
Great
Look at
ring
that.
of the moon.
Boop. Let's go up here. What's in here? Oh, it's locked.
Poor
That
Phil.
was a tease.
That was a tease. What could be in the locked crypt? You will never know because it was locked on that side.
Hey, guys.
So here you can see some of the normals on the floor. Basically everything has some normal map on it.
Yeah, so this might be easier to see. There's some specularity on the little marker here. Yeah, so this is some early work, but it's very exciting to see what people can do with textures that they just quickly generated. But I think we've got actually some even more exciting stuff to show off. What do you think? Should we keep teasing them?
I think teasing is kind of done. I'm tired of teasing.
All right, so here we are in Chapter 1 of the Neverwinter Nights campaign. This is my character. Her name is Divine Warrior. She has gray hair.
Hello, Divine
And look,
Warrior.
it's Aribeth. What's cracking, Aribeth? You certainly look like you're from 2002.
She's a good 2002.
You got some shiny armor with the reflection baked in. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
And that's Aribeth. How about we give her a makeover?
A makeover, you say?
A makeover, I say. What's this in the community hub? Why is it the Neverwinter Nights workshop?
You are going to Steam Workshop, which Phil loves, by the way. Phil is convinced that Workshop is like, that is the fanciness of the fancy.
Listen, man, I'm just saying, if you want to go on Neverwinter Vault, I want to keep supporting you, but there are going to be a lot of people who are like, I'm on Steam, I just want this easy experience. Let's give Aribeth some new spikes. How about that?
You have subscribed to New Spikes. So Phil is New Spikes.
That's going to be my nickname going forward.
I think
New Spikes.
New Spikes. I think that's one of the key things we want to call out is that we don't imagine the workshop replacing Neverwinter Vault or any of the kind of other channels of getting content.
I think it's just another channel.
It's just going to be a channel that's more accessible to hopefully a broader audience.
Whoa, Aribeth. What happened?
She has changed a bit.
It appears as if you have been given a severe makeover.
So one of the things to note right off the get-go is that Aribeth's neck and head and chest are all attached. That is a one-piece skin mesh of her neck and head, and it is aligned perfectly with her body. She's also got normal maps, spec maps on her. Wow, your character is tall, man. Tall.
So Trent, what the hell is it? We got new character models? What's going on?
We've got a new character model.
People
so this
are
is
freaking
Aribeth.
out.
Aribeth showing off kind of the potential of the new skin mesh system that we can attach to stuff, as well the potential for characters using normal maps and spec maps. I mean, when you get up to her, you can just see the detail in her. Why are you attacking her?
To show that the animations still work. These are original Neverwinter animations.
Yeah, so everything still plays correctly. She's rigged properly, and she's probably going to kill you, Divine Warrior.
Oh, probably. Actually, I'm super high level, so maybe she won't.
So you might survive.
Let's just let these guys be.
This is the only way that Phil can win a fight is by taking in a massively overpowered character.
So what does this mean for the future of Neverwinter, Trent? What's this going to be like in the future?
It means that we figured out how to go in and redo characters and make them look awesome.
Does that mean that we're going to be redoing some characters for the game?
We are going to be redoing some characters.
Are these new characters going to be a free update to Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition?
We're still playing exactly how we roll that out, but that is the plan. You buy Neverwinter as it is, you're going to get the updated characters as we roll them in.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty cool.
So that's kind of our plan for a lot of the content is after Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition is released, you're still going to be getting updates, new things to the game. This is a live project for us.
Yeah,
Neverwinter Nights does not stop when the head start is over.
And that's kind of the big thing we really look at is, okay, there's Neverwinter as it sits today, and there's Neverwinter as it kind of marches forward. And we've talked a lot about our desire to do new content. I think a big part of that new content is going to be providing like new character models, new environment stuff, and we'll provide those to a base product as well as putting them in with the new product. You totally should not have attacked her.
But now you can see her running. And she's mad.
Her skirt. She's very mad. I would be mad too, because some rando dude just ran up and attacked me.
But, you know, what if I'm a purist? What if I decide that I do not want these objects in my game? What can I do?
You can continue to play with the stock models.
You can, yes.
Our plan is to basically put things in as kind of almost like an HD pack where you can decide to use it going forward or you can decide not to use it.
Yeah. So you can opt out of these things. If you're running the original machine that you got in 2002 to play Neverwinter on, you don't have to play with all the fancy stuff. Although I would recommend getting a new computer because it's been 16 years.
Normal map and spec map and screen space and ambient occlusion, all of these aren't free. They're going to start slowing things down a little bit. So, I mean, if you want to play with the newest shiny, you're going to have decent hardware. But if the new shiny is not working well for you, just turn it off.
And when we say decent hardware, we don't mean like a 1080 GTX or something like that. If you have a pretty good machine from the last few years, you're not going to run into any issues.
Yeah.
It's
so
fine.
there was a question. Does subscribing just dump files into the hack/override?
Basically, it does, yeah. Like it works with the way Neverwinter supports override content.
Yeah.
We didn't add any new paths for it. We just made Workshop work with it.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep improving the system, but it's very, very similar to how you would install a mod from the Workshop right now. or sorry, Neverwinter Vault.
Yep.
So for right now, how you publish to the workshop, it's different for each game on Steam, but for the case of Neverwinter, we've added a console command. So if you're on Steam and you're logged in, you can bring down the console when you've loaded the module or the piece of content that you want, and then push it up to the workshop like that. And then you go to the workshop website, and you can configure the description and the screenshots and all that junk. But that's how it works right now. That's the user flow that we're going with. Once we push an update out so that everybody can do this, you'll be able to populate the workshop with your own stuff. And then, I'd love to see what you guys have cooking. I think it's going to be very, very exciting to see everyone's stuff in there, easily accessible.
I'm just anxious to see normal maps. I mean, so much content can look so much better. And if you're going to go in and do a normal map and a spec map for it, maybe doing a little higher res model for it, probably not a bad idea either. So I have a request. It says, Trent, say Privyet for Russian community.
Privyet.
Is that the proper way to say it? I have no idea.
Maybe the V is silent and it's just Privyet.
I have no idea.
I don't have to throw an accent on it. I don't know why I do. It's just something I do. I'm sorry.
It's because in the Western world we are programmed. Everybody should sound like Sean Connery from.
We've watched too much of The Simpsons. We have to do the accents. I'm sorry. It's just how it is.
It is a cruel, cruel world we live in, my
So
friend.
this update's going to be rolling out today. However, there are some regressions in this one. As we had mentioned last week, we had some known issues. There was the server filters issue where the wrong servers were showing up based on what filters you had. That's still an issue because we've decided to just rip that whole thing out and rewrite how the filters work.
Yeah, they were not awesome.
Yeah, basically the entire server browser, we broke it, and then in the process of fixing it, we're like, this is dumb.
Yeah, rather than fix dumb, let's burn dumb to the ground and on the fertile soil left over from the burning of said thing, let's build something new.
Yeah, so we're fixing that up.
Here was a question about the BG stuff. Have you got the capital to make even no English voiceovers of BG new enhanced edition contents, rather just restoring vanilla ones?
I think the question is, do we have the money to make new voiceovers for languages that currently don't have them? We got a price quote once for how much it would cost to translate BG into a new language, and it's like sitting at 800,000 characters or something.
Yeah.
Words.
So, and I think the fee was in the
the 6-digit neighborhood. Yeah, it was insane.
6 to 7 digits to go to all the languages we wanted to go to. So we were kind of like, yeah, let's spend money elsewhere.
Yeah. So I as much as I deeply want to do that, the pricing is insane for getting some of these things done because if you want it done well, that means that you have to hire basically an entire team that's native to that language that's going to run your casting and figuring out everything to do with getting that VO done, and that is very, very pricey for the size
and from us, it's really hard to manage from our side because I don't know what a regional accent sounds like from one region to another. I know that historically, translation in Baldur's Gate, I know in the German there was a certain regional accent that was used for some characters that seemed odd to other players. There's just so much sensibilities that we're just completely unaware of.
Although in the cases where a team has worked really, really well with us, it's been really fantastic. A few years ago, I think the Turkish translation of Baldur's Gate came out, and there had never been a Turkish translation before. And in fact, there had never been any sort of D&D publications in the Turkish language before.
Yep.
So they had to go through and actually define in Turkish what these D&D terms would be. Like, there was no Turkish word for an orc, so they had to come up with all these things. Yep. And it was actually a really great experience with them. All of those words that they defined ended up filtering back up to Wizards of the Coast. So they actually contributed to the game itself.
To the metaverse.
To the metaverse.
Of D&D. Think of that.
But for that to work, that team was incredibly motivated. Like, they took all this stuff on themselves. They forged ahead, did all this legwork that was necessary. And it's pricey as hell to get a company to do that. So that's kind of the limiting factor for us.
I really like that little, on the screen, he's got a little wisp moving around.
Hey,
and you can kind of see. Now you gotta stay a little away from it because you're a hot
lights.
orange light and it's a blue light, And you can just see the two playing together. It's pretty. There's a question here. I don't see the dodge cap in those .ini settings. Think you could add that too? Probably. You could probably add that too.
There's also no ability penalty minimum. There's a max. But I feel like, again, for my sake, there should be a cap on how much you can penalize someone.
I think it's a good time to do another t-shirt. Let's do one to Ew, Badger.
Ew.
Ew!
Or maybe it's Ew Badger.
Oob.
Ew Badger.
So there is literally going to be a video at some point where somebody cuts together every mispronunciation we've ever done, and we just look like drooling morons.
Well, we don't need to pronounce
it. You don't need to cut the video together for that. That's free.
All right. Oh, that's the previous question that we had. All right, so let's go back to Aribeth. She was cool. I want to see her again. But wait a minute. Did I unsubscribe? I did unsubscribe from the Aribeth.
You unsubscribed from Aribeth.
Oh, no. She's been reverted back to her previous state.
I think that's Dark Aribeth, isn't it?
No, this is regular Aribeth.
It's regular
See,
Aribeth.
Aribeth's problem is that her conditioner,
she
she doesn't get any volume in her hair. So it's just like flat. Whereas Aribeth 2018, she went to the salon. She got like the expensive Vidal Sassoon, and now look at this volume and bounce.
Volume and bounce.
Previously she would just get a flask of burning oil and just throw that in her hair, and it left her scalp feeling tight and dry.
Tight and dry.
But now, thanks to what's a good D&D shampoo name?
I don't even want to go there. Anyway.
Vorpal Sassoon.
Vorpal Sassoon.
It'll either clean your hair in one hit,
or bad things will happen.
But look at this. Bouncy volume, like the colors coming through. She looks healthier in general. So, I mean, I think she's done some positive things with her life in the past few years.
I do ponder her armor, though.
Yeah.
Those spikes.
So I think Aribeth is actually still a work in progress. She was kind of the test bed for getting all this stuff figured out. So we're going to do some more work on her. I think her hair is a little too orange right now compared to the original. She's a little too flaming redhead, But that's just me.
I think it's just us tweaking on colors, and the artist who's working on it, he's been working with us for a little while here. He's doing amazing work, and I am so looking forward to seeing this stuff roll out in a broader capacity. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, to be honest, I kind of love this style. It's not like the photo real. It's sort of this nice step between cartoony and real, and it actually really fits a D&D 5th edition style.
Yep.
Like, they have a very similar look to this.
Yeah, so we got a question. If the EE turns out to be successful, will you make more official premium modules?
Oh, hell yeah.
We're doing it anyway, dude. We're going to make it successful just by making it happen. We will put force and dollars behind making new content. The concern is we got to finish a baseline of Neverwinter functionality before we can kind of roll the new content. We are scheming and plotting at the moment, and that's about as far as we've gone on the new content. Well, we're a little past that, I guess. We're scheming and plotting and scheming with some other dudes.
Let's watch Aribeth in action here.
Aribeth is in action. She has been blasted by a spell.
That guy's just like, whatever. She's too high fidelity for me to fight back, so I'll just let her stab me.
Well, he keeps trying to do his spells, and she keeps taking... Oh, he got a spell off, but she is unimpressed.
Unknown mage. You're about to get a lot more unknown.
Badly wounded.
There we go.
He's going to become the never-known mage.
I had to help her out. Hey, everyone's gone. Did they die? I guess I wasn't paying attention. Wearing that helmet's going to give you a penalty to your casting.
Here's a question. Are those changes to Aribeth also going to translate over to player character creation as well?
Yeah, so all the character models.
Aribeth is basically the prototype for what we're doing with all the character stuff.
So characters are built a little bit differently, but the target is still going to be look as good as Aribeth does.
Yeah, Aribeth she's kind of a hybrid. She's really a custom model, but she's still kind of using the part-based system. So going forward, we're going to be doing kind of a complete redo of all the parts. Some of them can be skin, some of them will not be skin. It's all going to depend. I mean, armor makes a lot of sense to remain hierarchical and part-based because armor is hierarchical in parts.
Believe it or not.
Whereas cloth makes a lot of sense to be skin-based. What happens, here's a question, if you change the armor on a creature / PC who can change armors, it's going to swap to the new armor.
It's the same system as we have now.
Yeah, it's basically the same system. We're just reparting everything, and we got normal spec, and we're going to up-res the textures as we do it.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost us a bunch of money, but we think it's a totally worthwhile spend.
So the animations, what's the plan for those? Because they actually work quite well without any touch-ups.
The animations work fine. I'd like to improve them. It's just going to come down to we haven't made a hard commitment on animation yet because we actually don't have any animators on staff right now.
Are there a few that you have in mind that might need to be updated now that we have these high-res models?
Well, I think a lot of the emote stuff, and we're also talking about kind of a hand strategy. We haven't nailed that yet.
Because right now,
but it's going to be right now. Aribeth is just using fists, but we'll go one of two ways with this. Is either we'll dynamically swap hands to be like a point hand. We won't do the guns. We'll just do a point. We'll probably do a wave. We'll probably do a few hand options, and we can just hot swap them. But then we'll have to put the support into the animation file to drive that system. So it might actually be easier to just go through and bone the hands and link it up that way. We're still playing on it and seeing which is the right way to go.
But again, like our ultimate goal here is maintain backwards compat while making it possible to do more things. So
exactly.
We don't want to break your existing hands and whatnot.
We could do a ton of new and exciting stuff by burning it all to the ground and starting over, but I don't think everybody wants to wait 5 years for us to tear it all down and rebuild it. And I think we would probably starve during that period. Question. Do you guys have any plans for Neverwinter Nights 2 if this is successful? Right now we're totally focused on Neverwinter 1 because this is the one that I know and I know it inside and out. Whereas Neverwinter 2, I was in denial that there ever was a Neverwinter 2. I was kind of in this whole Neverwinter denial phase once it shipped. I was like, I don't want to talk about the recent horror that has been inflicted upon me. I still bear the scars.
It's cool, though. I enjoyed the game. I had fun with it.
I just had a dark spot there.
Neverwinter 2 is actually in a pretty good state in terms of what you can do with it. Like, a lot of the stuff that we're adding right now, that's already present in Neverwinter 2. And Neverwinter 2 runs pretty good on modern machines, I think.
I don't know. I haven't poked it. Like
I played it pretty recently. I did Mask of the Betrayer playthrough not too long ago. Or, sorry, Storm of Zahir, I think it was.
Okay.
The one where you're on the ship and it's party-based. And I think it was the second expansion. Someone in the chat will correct me in mere seconds, I'm sure.
Here's a question on BG1. The third Dave Vaughan's note says Tranzig owns a bag of holding. Why is it not among his loot or elsewhere in the game? Because writers and designers don't always talk like they should. And sometimes something gets dropped in the translation.
I would also argue that somebody probably stole it. I realize that's a cop-out answer.
Between the moment that you met Tranzig and murdered him, somebody snuck in and stole his bag of holding?
I mean, it's a world where people can turn invisible by quaffing a potion, so it's like maybe somebody was following him the whole time.
There was a question. What made you guys want to come back and redo the game? Was it because you found out it's about its large community that still stuck to it, or was it always planned to come back? Way back in the day when I shipped Neverwinter, I knew I wasn't done with it. And I really wanted to go back because I thought the engine, I thought it was really brilliant in a lot of aspects. I thought toolset plus DM mode plus persistent servers. I love that concept so much. I mean, I was almost a religious zealot when I was working on Neverwinter Nights the first time around. People looked at me and I had fire in my eyes and I would speak, "From God to me to you, this is the way games will be." I'm a little less insane right now, but I'm still highly enthusiastic about that concept. And when we put together our original plan of, hey, we're going to do the Enhanced Edition stuff, Neverwinter was at the top of the list. It was actually when we were negotiating for the Baldur's Gate rights, we were also negotiating at the same time for the Neverwinter rights. Just because there was some more complexity around Neverwinter and the Neverwinter MMO that it took us as long as it did to get around to Neverwinter as a product.
Speaking of that MMO, have you played it? It's
I
pretty
have.
fun.
It's
As far as MMOs go, because it's hard for an MMO to be like a tight action style game. It feels pretty good.
Another question. Any plans on releasing some of the quality of life features of the Neverwinter Nights toolset, such as being able to adjust placeable locations and adjust height with mouse keyboard bindings? The
Heightmap Terrain.
The toolset is one of those things that we're kind of looking at, and we're a little scared of it, but at the same time we understand there's got to be some improvements on that toolset. So we're looking into ways to do that right now.
It's going to be a big project. We have to port it over from, what was it, like Borland C++ Builder or something like that?
Yeah, it's Borland C++ Builder 6, and we really just...
We're on version 80.
We don't have a solid plan on it yet. We're still poking it. Still trying to figure out exactly how to do it.
But ultimately something has to be done. To call out one of the specific requests, adjusting height with the mouse, that's Heightmap Terrain, which is a huge feature.
It's a lot different. I mean, early days of Neverwinter, we actually tried a Heightmap Terrain, and at the time, we just couldn't get the fidelity we wanted out of it. So we made the choice to go tile-based. And ultimately, the tile-based we could paint down with like a paintbrush style system. I mean, the goal with Neverwinter Nights was that people could fire up the toolset, create an interesting environment and adventure for their friends, and not require like a ton of artistic expertise. Whereas you start playing with height maps, it gets a little more complex. It's a little more. There's some gotchas there that you've got to be aware of when you're working on it. We got another question. Last week we talked about how you dislike the step system in combat. Would fixing that be a complete overhaul of some sort, or will simple tweaking fix that? What I dislike about the step system is the fact that my character takes a step without my direct input. That is something I think we should probably change. Now, I haven't heard anybody say, oh, that's how it should be, because that's not how I intended it. I think the combat steps were added in to make the combat interesting. I've effectively used that technique to kind of back myself into a corner and be able to defend better, but at the same time, it's a little kludgy. So I don't like characters taking steps when I don't want them to take a step.
So to answer your question, yes.
Simple tweak, I hope. God, how dare you use so few words to summarize my horrible over-explanation.
Another question, will there be new tile sets for builders, new placeables to work with, or will you just incorporate hacks that have already been made in users? No, we're going to do new tile sets.
We're going to do new tile sets and placeables with the new content. That's the plan. Again, we haven't got anything formalized yet, but that is currently our plan.
If those are new tile sets that are separate from existing ones, or tile sets that you can optionally swap out existing ones with, we'll have more to share on that front in the future. But new content is coming, yes, and you will get to build with it.
It's going to take us a while to build it, though. Like, having just gone through and blown up kind of the art pipeline, we got a lot of work to do. A lot of work.
Turns out making games is a lot of work.
It turns out that Neverwinter is exceptionally system heavy, and that door is locked.
Is it? So it is. See,
And,
look at this memory.
I've been playing this module a lot lately.
Yeah, what have you... I keep seeing you tooling around with this module. What's going on?
I have loaded up Chapter 1 in the tool set, and I've been playing with it, and I've been mainly playing with the balance of it, because you come into it as a third-level character, and as a third-level character, it's kind of overwhelming.
Depth of field, look at this. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's got a lot going on.
It's coming along.
And I mean, we have just... Aribeth is the tip of the iceberg here. I mean, this tile set, we can go in and do normal and spec on the tiles. We can upgrade the geometry count on some of the items. There's so many things we can do. So many awesome things we can do.
So, Trent, how do I get Aribeth? I wanna see her in my game. How do I? Well, I mean, I obviously have her, but I, as a surrogate for the audience, how do I get Aribeth?
How do you get Aribeth?
How do I get Aribeth?
That is a good question.
Well, it looks like you need access to the workshop to get Aribeth.
Right now, yes.
So how do I get onto Steam, Trent?
So at the moment, we're going to be doing some Steam testing right after this, right after our stream.
That's right. After this stream, there's going to be a Discord channel that you can join to request a key, and once you have a key, you can activate your copy of Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition on Steam today, in fact. However, this is a limited key giveaway. We're not quite ready to go out fully yet. Next Friday, as in 7 days from now, we're opening up the Head Start program to Steam. So if you have the Head Start on Beamdog, you can get it on Steam.
Yeah.
And
we'll post up the link after the stream here so everybody can jump over there. But I think key things to call out is that things on Steam are workish at the moment. So that is one of the reasons we're doing the stream, is to have people jump in and help us out and find kind of some of the problem cases and edge scenarios that are confusing. We got another question here. How many Beamdog teams are there? 2, one for Neverwinter and one for IE Games. Currently, there are 3 teams.
Well, there were 4, and then now we're at 3.
Yeah, we were at 4 teams, and we've kind of parked a concept so we can go down to 3. So now we're rolling at 3 teams.
So there's the Infinity Engine team, there's the Neverwinter team,
and there's the other team. Project.
I got sand in my throat here.
You do.
It's rude to cough into a microphone.
Sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
We're all sorry about that. Here's another question. You mentioned you blew up the art pipeline. What can we expect as a quality life improvement to the asset import process? Not a lot. So the asset import process is basically dump stuff into Overdrive and have fun with that. We got a request for Phil to cut the volume on the game a bit.
Oh, sorry.
The game is loud and proud. That game.
Let's go to 5%.
5%.
How about that?
I think the big thing there is just harmonizing on a process to generate the content and export it out. I think ultimately we'll always have content going into Override as a quick test, and then bundling after that kind of really comes down to how to do it currently versus what might be a way to do it in the future. And we've been thinking a lot about kind of the asset and versioning problem and how to stop asset duplication and really how to make it work. And at the moment, my belief is the community, you guys have been managing it quite well without us. So we're not going to break anything, at least for a while.
So I've just joined the bandits here. I've decided to rebel against the Neverwinter City Guard.
When in doubt, count on Phil to be a jerk. So
this is what D&D's about, going off the rails.
Yeah, but right now, the bandits don't really care that you joined them. They kind of hate your guts. And the fact that you brought a level 30 character.
I run this town, basically.
You brought a level 30 character.
I'll join whatever gang I want, regardless of if they want me there.
You are such a jackass.
This is a hostile workplace.
Only sometimes.
Will it be possible to create even larger contiguous areas with the tool set than you currently can? What's the limiting factor there? Was it originally you guys defined map sizes? Was it just like we don't want to have gameplay in a space larger than this, or was it a resource limitation?
All of the above.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons was we found that big empty areas were big empty areas and weren't that interesting. The other thing we found out that was when you pack a massive area in, like when you go up from a 32 by 32 to a 64 by 64, you're creating a lot of additional space there. And to fill that space out, you got to throw a lot of critters in there, a lot of placeables in there, and it starts to get fat.
So now, given that computers have more than 640 kilobytes of RAM.
Hey, they had more than 640K back then. It was 8 megs, dude.
I think we can consider increasing the cap. I don't know if we would ever make it an arbitrary limit, though.
It comes down to tool set side.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the tool has to support the new concept first. Once the tool's supporting it, then we can go over to the game side and support from there.
And I guess to help us out would be to see usage examples where it's like, I understand why you would want a very, very large map, but to see how you're using it would be very, very helpful so that we can kind of optimize around that.
Yeah, no, I think Neverwinter, conceptually, we always kind of thought of it kind of along the lines of a Baldur's Gate, which is there's this big, vast world out there, but most of it's pretty empty, wildernessy stuff. Here's some hot spots that are really interesting. So go into the hot spots, pour cool things into the hot spots, and make it a lot of fun.
And I think the unexpected thing that cropped up was that Persistent Worlds wanted to have like a grid of areas so that they could cover every inch of the land. But to answer your question, it's something we'll look at.
Yeah. I think with poking the tool set comes the concept of, hey, there are numbers in here. Can we make those numbers bigger? And the answer might be, oh my God, it explodes in a horrible smoking pile.
Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is a shriek and a slap across the face.
Or a programmer just sitting in the
Shrieking
corner,
and slapping you
holding
across.
themselves and saying, it was a horrible thing. Oh my God, what have I seen?
And when that happens, you got to call HR, so it's just a whole process.
So right here with Phil on the screen, you can see the joys of the encounter system. With his mega crazy high-level character, he's caused thousands of bandits to spawn in to fight him. But because the module was created for levels 3 to 6, and Phil is running around with 20-plus level character, he's really not being challenged.
It's true. I'm just kicking ass.
Phil brought an M16 to a fist fight.
Listen, the city of Neverwinter needs a champion, so I'm going to be more of a champion than they wanted.
Especially with bandits that are just coming out of the woodwork, man.
All right. Should we give away one final T-shirt before we run out this stream here?
I think we could do another
at least
T-shirt.
one more. Let's see. Do we have any more announcements to do? No. I think this week's going to be pretty straightforward. So today, if you get in that Discord channel, you're going to be able to request a Steam key. There's a limited amount right now. However, next Friday, Steam keys are going out to everybody. Check your email. That's how you're going to be getting it. You'll get a key if you own Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition on Beamdog. The beta won't be for sale on Steam next week, but you'll be able to access it once you get your key.
Yeah, so if you've got friends who want to jump in, want to help test, get them to grab a copy of the game on Beamdog. We'll get them a Steam key. We'll get them in next week. We'll start pumping the numbers up and seeing where it explodes.
And more exciting than perhaps Workshop for some people is that Steam Friends stuff that we were talking about. So what this means is that you can bring up your Steam overlay, you can log into your friends list, you can click on a buddy and invite him to your game, and it should bring him straight into your game without any sort of port forwarding on your router, any of that junk. You just invite and he shows up in the game. It punches through your network address, translation stuff, and you go.
Yep. So T-shirt winner is Rindu.
Rindu. Rin. If I pre-order now on Beamdog, I will get a Steam key next week, is the question that someone asked? Yes.
C.
You will get a key if you buy on Beamdog.
Ooh,
so we're going to send out a wave of keys at the end of next week. So if you have Neverwinter Nights before that point, you'll be included in that wave. But after that point, you can still request a Steam key from us. So if you miss the boat, you can still get in.
I got another question here. How do we choose a game to enhance? By title, by publisher, by developer? By about 50 different criteria. One of them being a very fluffy one of, are we excited by the concept? Are we excited by the game and what it did? Were we fans of the original? Yes, so other beyond that, do we know something about the technology? Do we have hidden insight into it? Like, if you look at every game we touched so far, at least part of the team has been hands deep into that technology. Like, by hands, I mean elbows deep, like in the guts. We did MDK2 HD, which Cameron wrote the original engine for. We did MDK2 on the Wii, which Cam wrote the engine for, and Cam did the Wii port. And the Wii port was actually really awesome.
Yeah, okay, next stream, remind us to talk about how we did the compression for MDK2 on Wii.
That was hilarious. Then we did the Baldur's Gate stuff, which we had all done our tour of duties on Baldur's Gate. And beyond Baldur's Gate, there was actually potentially up to 5 games that were based on that tech base. So it made a whole ton of sense to do that, to chase after it. Neverwinter Nights, because
I had some involvement in that project, I believe.
I know so many things about this game, and some of them are dark, dark memories. But
things that only your barber should know about this game.
But at the same time, I know a lot of the content creation, and I still don't think there's been a game that does the same things that this game does. And once we're moving the Enhanced Edition along, I think we're going to be forging some new ground, and it's going to be truly amazing. We
have a good question. Will activating my Steam key disable my Beamdog game? No.
No, we're not jerks like that. I mean,
You'll-
we talked about it. We're like, hey, but what if somebody does this and does that? It's like,
Don't worry
you know
about
what?
You'll have it on both. Yeah, so the Steam keys for the beta, those will eventually deactivate once the beta ends, but you can then get a full key, so you'll still have access to the game on Steam.
Yeah,
so you're never going to lose your Beamdog install, and you can always add Steam on top of that.
Yeah, so we're basically going to associate one-to-one Steam to Beamdog key. So,
Question, can you guys do a 2-hour stream once a month?
dude, we can barely keep our shit together.
There are not enough caffeine pills in the galaxy to keep me going.
At the end of 2 hours, we would just be liquified mass.
You want 2 hours of me slaughtering halflings like this? Look at this. It looks like I killed a kid.
Phil, it's dark, Phil.
It's horrible.
It is horrible. You shouldn't be killing halflings, man.
You're right. Let's go kill others. Anyway.
So I remember they were doing a stream from Korea, and in Korea, games were very controlled at the point when Neverwinter came out. Basically, in Korea, most games to that point, you couldn't do evil things. You couldn't injure innocent people. So there's these Korean players who were playing Neverwinter for the first time, and they're like, I don't know, hey, let's try and attack this person. Oh, if I can attack them, it means it's legitimate, right? So they just start murdering the townsfolk, and then the game is broken, and they're like, we can't seem to make any progress in this game. I don't really understand what has happened. And the answer was, they literally murdered everyone in town who could have given them any direction on where to go.
If your only exposure to D&D before then was like Dark Alliance, I could see how hit it with a rock is your kind of go-to strategy, but that is pretty fun.
So I think generally my philosophy in RPGs is, if it wants to talk to you, let it talk a little bit before you murder it.
Regarding the original question, though, a 2-hour stream, I'm sure we could eventually, but if we're going to do that, I want to do something fun, like maybe a co-op game.
We'd have to train up and build up our endurance.
Ooh, we'll do a race. We'll split the screen, Trent and one client, me and another. We'll see who can get through a dungeon first.
I will win because I know the cheat commands.
I will just start the DM client, so...
You are a cheaty bastard. That is true.
Somebody asked you to explain one more time. There's limited keys, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. Today, this Friday,
right following this stream,
there's a Discord channel that you can join, and you can request a key in there. Now, that key is your Steam beta key for Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition, so you can take that to Steam, you can activate it, you'll have Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition on Steam. This isn't going to remove your Neverwinter on Beamdog. Nothing changes in that regard.
Yep.
When Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition goes live, like we hit release, all of those beta keys will stop working. But at that point, you can ask us for a retail Neverwinter key, and you will receive one.
And by ask us, we mean you can actually go to Beamdog, and it will have your Steam key right there.
We're going to set up a little widget so that you can automatically request.
Because making people ask support to get their Steam key, not really an optimal process. So,
this is just kind of our stopgap for the beta, but in a few weeks, everything will be cleared out, and you'll be able to get everything that you want.
Yeah. So go into the Discord after this. Message Jonathan, who's running it. He'll send you your Steam key. Go activate it, kick up, and try to join in and try to break Jonathan's junk.
If you don't get your key today, next Friday, we're going to email keys out to everybody under the sun that has Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition on Beamdog. So either you get it today or you get it next Friday, but you're going to get a Steam beta key.
The best thing to do would be get it today. That way we can get you to help and test out. And we're going to be giving more out every day next week, and Jonathan wants to keep running these tests every day. So he'll be sending out requests on the Discord. So stay on the Discord, like stay in the conversation.
Yeah. We'll
help us test stuff out, because I really want to find all those kind of edge case scenarios where Steam friends lists blow up, where Workshop has problems. I want to make the new Steam user experience a good experience. And then from there, I want to port that kind of capabilities over to all the other platforms.
Yeah. And it's an important thing, like having a first-time Neverwinter player on Steam having a really good experience. That means that they're going to get more into the game, and they might start checking out things like Neverwinter Vault or other parts of the Neverwinter community. So that's kind of our plan there, is make it a smooth experience so that you can get into the world of Neverwinter.
Yeah, I'm convinced that Neverwinter is such an awesome experience that once you expose people to it, they're going to become very interested in it, and they're going to want to continue to engage with it.
And what D&D game has like a little undead rave as you battle creatures.
As your insanely high-level character there, dodges everything that comes in, barely taking hits.
I really hope people can see my screen, otherwise I'm weird.
Yeah, people can't see your screen. You're just weird.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. So thanks for joining us. Come back next Friday when everybody is going to get into the Steam beta. Today, head over to that Discord channel, request your key, and you can get in today. Until then, we will continue working on Neverwinter Nights.
In the meantime and in between time, it's
we'll
another edition of the Neverwinter stream.
So grab your key, get on Steam, check out the multiplayer, check out the brand new Aribeth, and let us know what you think. We'll see you next Friday.
Toodles.